Awesome. Hi, my name is Rini Das. I'm the CEO and Managing Principal of RD Management Consulting Company, and I do a lot of management consulting, but I'm also the co-founder of ZettabytesToday. And welcome, everybody. This is our first session of virtual lunch and learn. And we started this series this year. Every third Tuesday, we are going to have one of these sessions going forward, and it's going to be uh, experts in fields that our LGBTQ tech professionals or in data professionals care about. Um, I also wanted to introduce Zettabytes Today. We are a networking organization for LGBTQ professionals in tech, data, and user experience space. I co-founded this in end of 2019 with Lisa Kagi of Stafford Technology, and I have Robin Bauman, one of our leaders, and also Vinny Sanfilippo of Tech Elevator, who is probably not attending today's, but these are the four of us who are leaders out here. Before we kick off, the talk, I do want to tell everybody that become a Zeta Star. Our speaker is a Zeta Star. You get access to our exclusive Slack channel and also recordings of all our virtual lunch and learn. And also we have exclusive events for our Zeta Stars. And actually today's spring thing is you get a discount of $23. So it's $42 for the entire annual membership. So Robin is putting up the entire link on the chat. So please do become a Zeta Star at your convenience. So I wanted to introduce April Wu, our speaker, and she is the president of InSphere Consulting. So she did send me a bio, but I will just, she was very humble and had only one sentence in her bio, but I will introduce her. She has three, not one, three master's degree. She has an MBA from Ottawa University. She has a MS in accounting from University of Wisconsin at Madison. She has a master's degree in computer information systems from UPenn. She has about 10 years of experience, and she started as an accountant, actually, doing accounting, tax accounting with Deloitte, and has worked with UL and JP Morgan Chase and Alera Group. And then in 2021, she started her own company, InSphere Consulting, basically helping with ERM deployments and with NetSuite. So with that, one more thing I wanted to add. Please, everybody, put your video and sound on mute. And we are recording this so that we can share it with you as a link in a private YouTube channel that we will store it there so you can see it later at your own convenience. So with that, I'll let April take off and do your presentation. And by the way, please put your questions or comments on the chat session. Robin is maintaining that. Take it away, April.
All right. Thank you for the intro, Rini. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So welcome, everyone. Today will be kind of an informal kind of information session about ERP in general. And we're talking specifically about NetSuite since it's a big market and that's something that I had experience in. So first of all, a little bit more about InSphere. We're Ohio-based consulting, and we currently focus on NetSuite. I see Brian is here. He's with Odoo. We're pursuing an Odoo partnership as well. So we're going to launch a new business as well. We do implementation, development, continuous improvements, and support. Everything you can think about ERP related, we can help. Our company is set our feet into this white glove methodology. So we do however we can, we do more to make our clients' life easier, however we can. That is the key thing that we are proud of. Our core values are fairness, transparency, caring, and growth. And the entire team is very bonded to these core values. So we speak about it everywhere we are. And, we wanted everyone to be aware and help us with keeping our core values if you see any disconnections we have. All right. So a little bit more about me. Rainy already gave me a very high praise. I did start my career in accounting, and I taught myself a little bit coding. I've been NetSuite consulting for several years. And I've also coached people from being an accountant into a NetSuite consultant. So that is somewhere that I'm very passionate about as well, to talking about careers. So that is basically what we're going to talk about today. We'll start with, what is ERP and what are the big players out there, and we'll talk about, NetSuite market, what's there, what's going on. I'm also going to talk about a little bit about job market as well, just so people here are aware. Maybe it's going to help you yourself, or maybe it's going to help your friends. The job market, both the market and job market are going very well right now on the ERP side. So, that might be another option to take a look at. It's kind of niche, so I just wanted everyone to be aware of that is a gaining popularity kind of market out there. And then we're going to go straight into our NetSuite demo so people can actually see what NetSuite is about. All right, so we're going to start with what is an ERP and who are the big players here. So the ERP is, I would call it like a centralized database with everything in. So some things I listed here, like you can have your sales data or activities all in together, together with all of your purchasing data, activities, together with your financials, together with your HR and the payroll data and activities, everything manufacturing related you can think of, like machine runtime, machine performance, like a people performance, workbench performance, everything can be in. Supply chain management, like forecasting. When do I need to reorder? What's the competitive vendor pricing that I can order from? You have all the data together. So ERP is basically a centralized database with all the functionalities, within. And basically every single person of every single role from every single department of a company can use this flat platform at the same time, import data or key in data, contributing to the data. So the insightful report can be pulled out of this database, which is contributed by everybody in the company at the same time, real time. So that is what ERP about. There are some big players that I listed here on the enterprise level. For everything that's like a Fortune 500. You'll probably hear, they're either using SAP or Oracle. Those are like the two biggest competitors in that kind of market. When we're looking at the mid-sized, NetSuite, Microsoft Dynamics, Sage are some bigger players. For mid-sized, which we're talking about like 5 million to maybe 200 million is the range there. Everything above that, they're probably going to use either SAP or Oracle. On the small business side, there are Odoo, Acumatica, Deltek. Those are some bigger players in the small business area. So we have been working on NetSuite, and we're opening up Odoo just to help or like enlarge the coverage that we can help with. There are some other big names there, and I listed them out here just so you can see the differences here. So Workday is pretty big in our area. It actually is a human capital management system. If I come back here, they are basically right here. They touch a little bit of finance, but they definitely don't do anything like manufacturing, supply chain management, things like that. So they're more on the human capital side. Salesforce is also big. They are a CRM, which is customer relationship management system. So Salesforce is more on the sales side, and they do touch a little bit finance, but that's basically where they are. So ERP is everything. So everything that I listed here, these couple of software, they basically fall under this category, which they do everything. They have a centralized database that can do everything. That's kind of the difference that I wanted to call out here. So a little bit more about the NetSuite market. It is a #1 cloud ERP. It's the first cloud ERP that ever come aboard. They're acquired by Oracle, so they're called Oracle NetSuite technically. They have an open API, SOAP or REST. You can connect it to basically everywhere. You can even develop your own app using NetSuite as a platform as well. NetSuite is JavaScript based. It's got its own Suite script, which is an extension of JavaScript, but everyone that had experience with JavaScript wouldn't have any problem working in NetSuite as a developer. It is a pretty big market. Some of the skills that they have here are for different industries, some IT companies, service companies, even nonprofit that I had some clients working in. It's pretty strong in manufacturing, wholesale distribution as well. So it is definitely a big market there. It's got more than 40K customers worldwide. And NetSuite is especially bigger in the tech IPO. So, more than 50% of tech companies that went IPO actually use the NetSuite. So if you are looking into potentially like entering this ERP market or possibly NetSuite, or, some of your family friends might be interested, you could potentially work with these tech companies as well, not as a developer, but as an ERP developer for NetSuite. They also have like stock options, things like that. So it's a pretty good job market there as well. And with that being said, the job market we're looking at, this is from Anderson Frank, which is a big name in the market as a staffing company for NetSuite. This is their survey for somebody like a solution architect. This is United States overall. That is the average we're looking at. For developers, that's kind of the average salary, but you also need to phase in the stock options if you work with one of the tech startup companies. So we went through all of the teaser content just to talk about what is ERP, what is NetSuite. NetSuite has a pretty popular market and a job market there. So now let's take a look at what NetSuite look like to give you a better feeling about the system itself. So I'm gonna log in. So I'm already logged in, and I logged in as a fake user. This is a demo account. Nothing here is true or real. It's got some dummy data here that we can look at. So this is the dashboard that they have. So whoever logs in, this will be the first thing that you see. And like I said, this is like a demo account, and I definitely don't have anything entered for this year yet. So we're looking at some old data. But this gives you some feeling on, how powerful it is, because like I said, everybody is entering their data directly into the system, no matter what role, what department you're from. All of the data are hosted here, cloud. So all of the reports you're getting are also real time. For example, here I can set up reminders of, how my day would go about. I could have some bills pending my approval. I might need to pay somebody. I might need to ship some orders. I might need to receive some purchase orders. I might need to approve some journal entries. So basically, you can put this on someone's dashboard and tell them, hey, your day job is to try to get everything down to zero. That could be a good kind of work guidance for them. In the middle, we have some KPI. Some of these are custom built, actually, since you have the data there. You can determine what is your KPI, and you can custom build some of them. NetSuite preload a bunch of them as a standard, but you can always customize these. As you can see, when I hop it over, there is a green button here, which launch into a trend graph, and you can change, the different frequency or time period that you wanted to review the report for. You can change different view on the spot. You can download it, export into an Excel, however you want to do with it. And everybody has this for all the KPIs. Another thing I always talk about is NetSuite is all about the linkages. So from one click, it takes you everywhere. Looks like I have a number here for orders. So this is actually linked to a report that I can launch into. So this launched into a report where I actually got that number from. And from here, everything is, you can drill down. So if I click into this, this is view a customer record. So one click, it takes me to the customer. If I wanted to drill down further to see, hey, what got me this amount here, I can, one click away, I can see the details of the transactions that actually contributed to that number. And this got me to the customer. And from here, I can even view more information. See here is a dashboard. It launched me into a customer specific dashboard, which has, all the KPIs and important links. Just for this customer, I can see all the historical transactions of the customer. And from here, you can even link further into, another report, things like that. And you can also launch the trend graph. So it is very interactive, and everything is connected to each other. So now let's go back to the dashboard. We'll look at some KPIs here. There are some other kind of matrix that are important for you. Again, this is customizable. This is just something that's built in, but if there are something that's more important for you, you can build that and add that to your dashboard. Down here, NetSuite is very powerful in terms of analytics. I can create a pivot table and drop it on here. The one that I have here is production cost per period by assembly. You can easily do something like, sales orders per sales team or something like that. However the data works out for you, you can pivot them in and get that in. Here are some additional custom built report that I put it in here. I thought for this group that we have, you're probably going to be more fond of something that's more fancy. This is all the kind of fancy data analytics stuff. This is the top increasing in sale by region. So these are the top regions that we have gained in sale for the rolling year. Same thing, I did the same thing for by sales item. So which one is increasing in sale the most for this year, for this rolling year. So as my customers, who am I gaining the most sales in this year? So those are some kind of reports that you're able to get because your people are constantly putting all the data in there. This is all real time. Something like this will be very useful for people. Like for example, sales director, they can see which areas are gaining most value or most attention, and they probably wanted to staff more in that area. Or if some areas are falling behind, maybe they wanted to provide more trainings for sales in the other regions. So these are very insightful kind of reports for decision makers. Another insight you can also get from this report or this kind of report would also be, hey, this area is selling super fast. Maybe I should stock up. So those would be some kind of insights that you will get from your data. And again, ERP is all about centralized data. Since you have the data there, you'll get insightful analytics. On the right-hand side, I have some meters. So this is something that we've done for some clients that all of their sales reps will have their commission showing up on their dashboard, and they have their quota, they have the goal that they wanted to reach. Day by day, as they make sales, they can see their commissions go up, which will be a great incentive for the sales team. There are some other graphics that I can add on. For example, like this trend graph, I can add it in. I can also easily drag and drop however I want to, and change the drop downs and the views from here. So that's some dashboard information here. The next one I wanted to show would be something about data. So NetSuite is very easy to use, not only just for users, but also for administrator or developer. Its data is very organized. So under this list, I see everything that is master data. By master data, I'm talking about, for example, a list of employees, a list of customers, a list of vendors, a list of items or products I'm selling. So all of that kind of data are all on the list. So it's very easy to find. Just a couple clicks away, I can find my catalogs. I can find the list of all of my my stakeholders really. To the left of it, this is where all of my transactions are. So transactions are kind of like events. So you need to have your master data before you can have an event. So transactions, for example, a sales order, I need to know when, who, I sold what, for how much. So to be able to have a sales order, I need to already have a customer. I need to already have a sales rep, which is an employee. I need to already have a item that can be sold, and probably pricing also configured at the item level as well. So only when your master data is set up before you're able to log a transaction or event. So that is how easy to find data within NetSuite. It's all clustered in a way that makes sense. Another thing NetSuite is very big about is reports. So no matter what other people say or think, ERP to me, down at the back end, or the most essence or most important factor is you can get your book right. So end of day, it's about financial reporting or other kind of reporting, but financial reporting is one of the most important one. So having a strong reporting or analytics tool is also important factor for an ERP, and NetSuite is doing great in this part. I'm just gonna open the income statement here to show you how robust it is. One thing that got a lot of people's attention, or actually a final purchase, is actually this column thing. So you can basically tag your data however you want. You can build additional lists or drop down to kind of qualify your data, classify your data in certain way. And once that's done, let's say my P&L and I wanted to expand it by location. And here it is by location. It lists out what location I have, and it basically segments the data by location. I can also do it by, let's say, department. And here's all my departments, and I can see the P&L from all different departments. So something like this are, really make NetSuite looking good to a lot of people, because a lot of the time it is people's CFOs, controllers that make decision on which ERP to go about. Because end of day, it's all about book. Other than this column, these reports are very easy to customize. You can add whatever filters you have, because you have a big database. There's a lot of filters you can add. You can even sort it a certain way. You can filter by date or period very easily. Something also powerful about NetSuite is this scheduled email. You can just email this thing, just a one-time thing on the fly to someone, but you can also get it scheduled, and you can have a list of people added. You can even have people subscribe on their own to get a daily or monthly or yearly, however you want the frequency to be. They can get the data directly sent to them. So that's a small automation. It saves people time, and it gets NetSuite just automatically fire these out. So these are some things that I wanted to show. Another thing I think would be very interesting for this group is the customization. So NetSuite has a lot of the built-in customization that you can just do without coding. Obviously, you can do your own scripting and deploy it here. If you have a special kind of a functionality or even like a small app or bundle that you wanted to install, you can write it up and deploy it here using NetSuite as a platform. In the meantime, NetSuite do have some built-in customizations that you can do. For example, like this workflow. Let me see if I have something that is kind of meaningful. So a workflow can be deployed to any kind of record upon creation of the record or update of the record. And NetSuite has a lot of like a pre-configured trigger that you can use. So for example, let me go to the triggers. So it could be initiated by event, which is, as I mentioned, upon creation or upon update, or it could be scheduled, like having the system automatically do something in a mass way at a scheduled time. Either way would work out. And once you have something like this, you can add a lot of actions in there based on different triggers. And some pre-configured actions are like you can add a button. It will be useful for like approval kind of workflow, like like a certain row or people that has the authorization can have the approve button when something is created and pending approval. You can also automatically create a record, upon some kind of trigger. Something that's useful is whenever a lead is created, automatically create a task or create a phone call for your sales rep immediately. You can also have the system automatically send an email upon certain trigger, like whenever it's approved, or a status change, like when it's fulfilled, things like that. You can also automatically set a field value. For example, your sales lead time is 5 days. You can add a field value for, if my sales order is created today, then my fulfilled time will be 5 days later. So a lot of actions you can add here. If I go ahead and just do this add button one, I also wanted to show you some triggers you can do. So this one you can trigger upon entry of this state, or something like before the record load, you can have a button added. I'm also going to show you the set field value because it's got more triggering points here. So you can have it pre-fill before the record even loaded to your browser. You can have it, like this action to be implemented before a record is submitted or after it's submitted. You can do it based on the scheduled time. You can also based on like user interaction in the browser. So whenever a user edited something else, I'm having this field auto-populated. Or I can have, another field edited, which you can pick which field is populated, and have, this specific field populated accordingly. So it's a lot of trigger that you can leverage to have your action implemented. Here are some also conditions that needs to be fulfilled, so it doesn't, maybe this action will only work when this is certain role, or this user is a certain job function, things like that. You can determine whatever condition you want. NetSuite can also transition to different state with a like a transition here, and you can configure this transition whenever it happens. It could be happen upon a click. It could happen upon something else happens, then automatically transition over here. So this is just a pretty user-friendly kind of a quick user interface workflow, or like automation or approval rules, things like that.
Hey, April, it's about 12:32 right now, so I was wondering if you would entertain some questions at this point.
Sure, let's do that. This
Okay,
is basically what I wanted to show. So
awesome.
yeah, let's look at the questions then.
Robin, you want to read out?
Yeah, so I have a question from Steph, and it's actually a two-part question. She's saying, although ERPs try to centralize core data, I have found there's often a need to blend data from the ERP with data from external sources. The first question is, have you seen differences in how well the various ERPs support an integration with, say, data lake or data warehouse for out of ERP reporting and analytics? That's the first question.
Gotcha. So that is true. In ERP, whatever software, they all have their strengths and weakness. Like I said earlier, for example, Salesforce is good with sales activity, things like that, but it's not as for example, reporting wise, it's not as robust as something like NetSuite. And also just for NetSuite itself, although some of the built-in functions are pretty powerful, there are other tools that you can use to make it even more powerful. So all the softwares have their strengths and weakness in certain ways, and it's really kind of up to the management team to see where best to allocate their resource financially, because you can't be strong like everywhere because of the budget. And with that being said, the external data tools are also available. So what I'm aware of, I think Tableau and the Power BI has kind of pre-configured plugin to NetSuite. And it's kind of like a one button, you can trigger all of the data into Tableau, things like that. So those are definitely available. I have actually seen the integration. Somebody used Alteryx to connect or to populate NetSuite data into Tableau. But things like that are definitely available. And there are a lot of apps and integrations there. For example, people that uses e-commerce, they use like a middleware to do the integration. And also like shipping kind of apps that are outside of NetSuite. There's plenty of integration that's happening. Hope that answers your question.
Okay. The second question was kind of, I think you touched on it a little. Who are the players that are easier to work with? Do you have like any preferences of like different players that are, the easiest companies to work with? Excuse me.
Yeah, so that's a really good question because the software itself is one thing. There's always consulting firms that are actually handling the end user experience. So that's why, there are plenty of consulting firms out there that's doing the implementation. The best setting I have seen is, instead of focusing on the service of the software itself, look for a partner that knows the software well, as well as having good reputation with client handling, because you need someone in the middle to translate what your need to how the software can do. I have seen like NetSuite. NetSuite has a pretty good kind of support overall. NetSuite has 2 yearly release every year, and it's got some kind of a small bug fixing kind of a release here and there throughout the year. For software like that, we definitely need to make sure they're constantly modifying, updating, listening to their customer, and making updates accordingly. They also have their internal kind of support. So basically, anybody can submit a support case for any defecting or issue, which rarely happen actually, or just in general asking a question, things like that. And they normally get you in contact within 24 hours. But a lot of time I see people just work with a consulting firm, which you'll get a better kind of attention right away. Hope that answers your question.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions there, Robin?
No.
Because I had one. I'll just ask that. Is NetSuite available to like smaller businesses? Because Salesforce, for example, or Ultimate and others are available for 100 employees or less companies. That's my first question. And the second question is, do they sell by modules, in the sense, when you started the presentation, you talked about having manufacturing section, having, it's a human capital management, having sales. So can I, as a small business owner, let's say, I just want the human capital management system of NetSuite and I just wanted that?
That's a really good question. So, to answer your second question first, because I kind of forgot the first one, you might have to ask again. To answer your second question first, NetSuite is, kind of packaged by module. The financials is kind of like the must. So if you only wanted the HR portion, that won't work. If you don't have the financials part in, because like financials kind of like the basics of the basic that you have to have. But NetSuite has done, I have personally done someone that only purchased just the financial suite. It's kind of like they used to use QuickBooks, but QuickBooks doesn't have the functionalities, especially reporting wise. and they like the NetSuite reporting, so they migrated into NetSuite just for accounting reason. That is definitely, okay for NetSuite. They have the standard packages. I have also seen someone that only do, let's say, a service company which don't have inventory at all. They just wanted to do services, have some projects set up, have people log in, timesheet and expenses, things like that. That's totally fine. NetSuite's not gonna force you to buy inventory module or manufacturing module if you don't use those. Same thing for kind of a retail or warehouse distribution company. If you don't have manufacturing, you don't need to buy that module. If you don't have projects, you don't need to buy that module.
Okay, excellent. My first question was whether small businesses, they have a package for small businesses less than 100 employees.
Gotcha. Yeah, so they actually do have that.
Okay.
There are smaller packages for, just the financials first, kind of help you to replace QuickBooks just for, something more robust. And you can pre-purchase, just for 5 employees, which can get the price really low. And as you grow, you can just buy it like user by user or buy another bundle for users.
Okay. And one last question that I had, like Salesforce has a Force platform where people can develop stuff, and the database that they use is Postgres, essentially. What is the database, and does NetSuite have its own platform where you can develop a lot of things using the NetSuite data?
Um, if I understand it right, so first of all, like platform wise, are you talking about like developing something and
Right,
installing NetSuite? Okay.
exactly.
So that's the scripting that I was talking
Okay,
about. So you can use whatever IDE you like. NetSuite has a kind of partnership-ish with Eclipse. You
okay,
can download that, and that has a pre-configured connection. So as long as you have login password, you can connect that directly to the NetSuite, and whatever you write or develop, you can publish it with just a button click.
okay,
Otherwise, you can basically use whatever IDE and save it as .js file for
okay.
JavaScript and just deploy it here.
And what is the underlying database? Is it Postgres
Um,
or is it Oracle database itself or?
it is using the Oracle Cloud. I think it's called OEM or something.
Okay,
No, it's just Oracle.
okay,
They actually had their own database, but then they did a big migration to just the Oracle
okay.
Cloud database.
Yeah, I mean, Oracle will always brand it because that's who they are, right? I mean, they started as a database. So,
Yeah.
okay, very good. Anybody else has any questions? Okay. Well, I sincerely appreciate you for kicking us off, April. Thank you for being such a great ally for Zettabytes. Couple of things, and I think Robin is putting it on the chat, some announcements to make. Uh, Tech Columbus, and I saw that Kelsey was here, is on the list here. So Tech Columbus and Tech Life and us and several other groups are organizing our annual Spring Fling, which is going to be at a bar in Hilliard. So that's our big in-person event, and that's on May 3rd. Please join for that and register for it. It's the link is out there. The other thing that we are also sponsoring is Level DNI, which is a recruiting company. They are organizing a diversity, equity, inclusion conference called Level Up. That's on May 4th. And we are sponsoring, and if you register through our link, you get, I think, 50% discount, right, Robin? As a partner. And
Yes, if you go through this link and then you enter code partner 50. Let me put this out here.
And we will be there. We are doing sessions there. Tech Columbus also is participating. Winnie is doing a panel discussion there. We will have booths there. We would love to see you there. And the last one that I wanted to announce was on May 9th, our next wonderful sort of virtual lunch and learn session will happen with Dylan Ray and Sophie Washovic of Salon Consulting. They will be talking about how to use systems thinking in user experience and design, and how to make it much more accessible for all kinds of disabilities. So I'm looking forward to all of them. And thank you again, April. This has been just fabulous. Thank you for letting us know. I know ERP is not everybody's favorite topic, but it was simple and I loved it. And thank you all for joining.
I put my email up there. It's April at InSphere Consulting. So feel free to reach out. We can definitely use a referral if you know
Absolutely.
any decision makers. I also just put my LinkedIn there as well. So feel free to connect and reach out. Love to connect with everyone and continue our conversation about ERP.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Go back and eat some lunch, people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.